coverage of the 30th Ashley Forest Rally Sprint is brought to you by Possum Bourne Motorsport in association with Motul Oils. When Steve Millen's Chevette flew off the start line on Mount Grey Road and won the 1979 edition of this iconic event, it started a tradition that continues to this day.
Ashley Forest in North Canterbury. This year, as is fairly traditional, the best drivers were keen to compete.
And now a man that might surprise them all, Possum Bourne from Pukekohe.
Rodney Milling heading that field, but Neil Allport in the 323. Malcolm Stewart in the Audi Quattro, and he will be sharing that this year with Brian Green.
1915 is the time to beat.
Over the years, records have been set and broken broken again. Longest standing, that of Kim Austin's V8 Starion, a 56.57 set 18 years ago, and only broken by Rotorua's Sloane Cox last year with a 55.23 in his Mitsubishi Special. He was back this year to go even faster.
It may only be a rally sprint that's very short, but the history behind it, the drivers who have been here, it was always on my list to do my rally career. So when I had a chance and we brought this new hill climb car, I knew we had to head down here and see what we could do.
Ashley's on its own. It's an iconic event that I've been coming to since I was a little boy, and yeah, it's always going to have a special place.
I remember watching it back in the 80s, seeing the likes of Rod Millen get under the minute barrier, and it was an event that as a kid you admired, and I remember competing here for the first time in my dad's Toyota Corolla when I was 15, so a lot of history here, and many years ago.
Yeah, it is a fun road. It's really short. You've got to be on your game right from the start, and that's the difficult thing about it, to actually get going. And you've only got 1.7 kilometres a minute to get every corner right.
Oh look, I've been coming here for years and years, and I remember watching it when I was a teenager, when it used to be on television live Saturday and Sunday. It was just fantastic.
Some of it you have to let naturally happen. It's the same as in rallying. If you go chasing things, you tend to overdrive and you actually go slower. So it's just about being calm and relaxed in the car. The road will naturally get quicker over time. You naturally wind the car up as it gets towards the end of the day. So you've got to let the time naturally come as well.
It's pretty cool when you have people like Hayden Paddon coming back here to try and take the record out. He said it all over social media that the record's what he's looking for. We don't want to give it to him, and it's awesome that a world-class driver's come here in his car, produced a better car here, got more power, more aero to try and take our record out.
It's every single aspect of the nature of the camber on the road to the corner. Entry speed, exit is it's vital, to put that one time down. So
you never achieve the times that you're doing here on a rally stage, because you only do it once, as a general rule, sometimes twice. But yeah, you just hit it and hit it and hit it and hit it, and as you can see, the times are falling all the time.
When you get in the car, you just get in the drive. If you're thinking about damaging the car, whatnot, then you probably shouldn't be driving it. So it's part and parcel of the sport. At the end of the day, you want to be fast, you've got to be in the middle of the road, and you've got to get to the end, and that's all you've got to focus on.
The record that many said couldn't be broken was set on a perfect day back in 1999. Waitakaruru's Kim Austin, who already held the two-wheel drive record, drove the Don Hickman built and conceived Kempe's Mitsubishi V8 Starion up and down this iconic ribbon of gravel in a time of 56.57. In 2016 came a young man from Rotorua with big dreams in his head. The junior New Zealand Rally champion in the ex-Andrew Hawkswood Hill Climb Special not only smashed Austin's record, but would go on to break it a further 3 times.
It was a perfect weekend. We knew on the Saturday that this could be the weekend, and it showed on the Sunday. We broke the record 3 times, and it worked really well.
Sadly, Kim Austin and good mate Chris Barnes were tragically killed in a helicopter accident, and equally sadly, this winning combination, Possum Bourne and Roger Freeth from 1985's event, have also passed away. But it started a relationship between this event and Possum Bourne Motorsport that flourishes today through new boss David Thexton.
Excellent. Thanks, Rod. Excellent job.
And now on the line, David Thexton needs to come sub 60. 1:01.19 is best time. He needs to improve it here.
When I was old enough, when I had a car that was reasonable enough, I came down and entered, which would have been about 85, I think.
It's not pulling cleanly, and he's losing some time on the downhill. He was a wee bit...
I've been close a long time ago, 25 years ago, at seconds and thirds and things like that. But what's happened now, it just got faster and faster and faster for everybody. Like I would never have thought that a 55 was possible, and I was here when Millen broke the minute.
For hugely successful businessman David Thexton, getting more involved with the sport was the right thing to do.
2 years ago we bought Possum Bourne Motorsport. I've known him right from back when we both learned to rally drive together and our kids went to school together, and it went broke in the end of 2015, and my wife and I thought, well, we'll buy this business and we'll build it back to its former glory, which is what we have done basically. And then I know the guys at Ratec who run this event, and I thought, well, I can get in and help, so that's what I did. And then this year we brought in Motul engine oils as well, which so there's 2 of us involved. So hopefully that we can keep the thing going and give them enough budget to do what they want to do with the event.
Hi, I'm Sloane Cox, the record holder here. Let's go for a ride up Ashley Frost Rallysprint. Off the start line we go, up through the gearbox. First, second gear pretty quick in my car, and you're into 6th gear in no time. Much power as you can before we get up to the uphill kink. Quite a tricky corner if you're approaching it at over 200k. It's very quick right left, and then you're up the next little straight. For the left-hand corner, right before the notice corner, quite a tricky corner for me. I know the locals do it real well, so it's what I'm working on. So hold momentum, a lot of camber on that corner. That's a quick blast to the hairpin. Hairpin's a corner you really got to get right. There's a lot of time made and lost on the hairpin. So down to 2nd gear, hit the handbrake, 1st gear, and we're off again. The downhill descent starts, and back up to 6th gear, over the quick little crest, and you're looking at this dipper. Tricky, bumpy corner that only gets worse over the run. After dipper is a shoot down to the finish. So really got to hold your speed, but watch it, you don't run wide on the 2 right-hand corners down to the finish. Very quick finish line, so back up 5th gear on this downhill section, touch you on 200k before the flat right hand over the finish line. That's a lap around the Ashley Frost track. Now let's get into the racing.
Saturday's practice runs proved a couple of things. The road was in great condition and the top cars were fast straight away.
We'd love to go for a new record. We know last year we didn't quite finish what we wanted to. We believe last year we had more time in the car, so we're excited for this weekend, and today's been great so far and we're loving it.
Matt Summerfield was coming off the high of 2nd place in the New Zealand Rally Championships, was going for an unprecedented 4th consecutive victory, and was building nicely in the Mitsubishi Mirage AP4.
Yeah, happy so far. Times have been all right. We're a bit off the pace of the other guys, but we've got our own game plan and I'm just easing into it.
There's little doubt who the fans had come to see. WRC star Hayden Paddon in his AP4 spec Hyundai. Even in this early stage, Paddon and his crews had eyes on the record.
Yeah, it's great to come back here, and it's obviously a very relaxed atmosphere and enjoying it. A few modifications in the car, and we're just trying a few things with each run, and you know, here as a team just all enjoying it. The car's going well so far and the road's looking pretty fast, so looking forward to Sunday. If the weather stays kind tomorrow, then I think for sure there will be a new record, but we can see Sloane's going very fast as well, and Matt and they're right there, so it's going to be a close fight. Obviously we'll keep a few things in reserve until the final few runs.
The competition was fierce in all 6 classes. In the 0 to 1300cc line-side automotive sponsored class, Mr. Toyota starlet Peter Murch could only manage 3rd. Second place went to car 47, John O'Taylor in his Suzuki Hayabusa-powered Toyota Corolla, the car an engineering masterpiece. That meant that the top spot went to Chris Herdman in his Starlet. The defending class champion from last year and a stalwart of the class, this time marking 10 years of competing here in the 0 to 1300cc class for the local from Rangiora. Has won 13.45, too good for the competition.
Chris, it looks like you're taking out the 1300 challenge.
Yeah, no, I'm wrapped. That was a pretty good run. Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah, it's awesome.
So it's Chris Herdman leading from Jonathan Taylor and Peter Murch in third in 0 to 1300. With just two competitors in the brand Mechanical sponsored 1301 to 1600cc class, there'd be silverware for both. Second in a time of 50.73, the starlet of Christchurch's Matt Sisson. Taking the bigger trophy and the win was Marlborough's Steve No Mice, this time Catamol. In his Suzuki Swift-powered Datsun Coupe, his winning time a 1:12.11, 9.82 seconds better than Sisson. So it is Steve Catamol taking out the all-important 1301 to 1600cc class ahead of Matthew Sisson. After setting the fastest qualifying run with a 56.04, big things were expected from Hayden Paddon, but Mechanical Gremlins slowed the WRC star in the finals before bringing the Hyundai's charge to a halt. The man most had come to see was out.
Yeah, unfortunately we've got a bit of engine damage, which means it's terminal, time to put it on the trailer. So yeah, big shame. There was a lot of potential in the car this weekend, and for sure we could have been under the record, but we just have to come back next year to find out.
I guess it's back home and then back into it?
Yeah, back over to Europe, and we've got a couple more rallies this year and try and change his luck this year.
Mate, wish you all the best with the rest of the season. Thanks for coming back home and thanks for putting on a show for this amazing crowd.
Great, really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, Hayden. Thanks, mate. All the best.
From a big field of 51, we would cut them to the first elimination to the top 32. Missing the cut, Christchurch's Willie Hawes in his Toyota Celica 2-litre turbo. Willie was competing at Ashley Forest for the third time. Corey McCaskill was competing at Ashley Forest for just his second time, driving the ex-Matt Jensen Subaru, which he purchased in 2014. His best time, a 1:09, not good enough. The future of New Zealand rallying was driving his BMW 318. Ari Pettigrew, at just 18 years of age, is the youngest driver here at Ashley. His best, a 1:07.69, not good enough to make the 16 cut. Also not going any further, Matt McGlinchey in his Subaru Impreza WRX, a best time for him of a 1:07.08. Mike Baltrup first started rallying back in 1985, had a break, but now has returned to the sport this year, his Subaru taking him to 26th overall for 2017. Bert Murray's best, a 1:06.78 in the ex-Richard Kelsey RX-7, was never going to make the 16. His fight would be in classic two-wheel drive with fellow RX-7 pilot John Silcock. Driving one of the oldest cars in the field was James Palmer in the Subaru Legacy. The same type of car the late Possum Bourne won here in 1985. No winning though for James, his best, a 1:06.23. John Silcock has tasted both sides of the Ashley Forest Rallysprint, an outright win in 2012 and a sickening crash a few years before. 23rd overall with a 1:05.55. Jeremy Beaton is a regular competitor at various South Island events in his Subaru Impreza. His best here, a 1:05.47, saw him miss the top 16 cut by 3 seconds, but still finished 22nd overall. Three-time overall champion Matt Summerfield was driving his other car, the Subaru Legacy he shared with James Palmer. With plenty of business to do at the front of the field, not making the cut wouldn't have bothered him too much. Like John Silcock, the victim of a spectacular crash in his Escort, Dave Ollis from just down the road in Wood End was back, this time in a Subaru Impreza he was sharing with Garrett Thomas. Garrett Thomas was faster than his fellow driver Ollis in the same car, a 1:04.40, beating a 1:04.89, but only just. Graham Baring has been racing since he was 15, but it was the car this time that garnered most of the interest, the ex-Kim Austin Starion V8 that won here and set the long-standing record back in 1999. 17th when the elimination cut is 16th is hard to take, but don't worry because Gary Hawkes had a double entry and he would make the 16 with his second entry. So we've found our top 16, but a few notable surprises. Mechanical issues for Hayden Padden saw him out early, and a DNF for Auckland's Mike Tom. Also one of the favourites that went out early, Dunedin's Mike Wellington. Class 3, the Southern Salvage Classic two-wheel drive, was an all RX-7 affair. Third place went to the man that won the class last year, Christchurch's Phil Campbell. Second in the Southern Salvage class, Waimate resident and 2006 Classic Rally champion in his White Horse Motors sponsored Group B RX-7, Bert Murray. This car a sister car to Rod Millen's championship winning car. The win went to 2012 outright champion of the Ashley Forest Rallysprint, then in the Mitsubishi Evo. This year he was driving his full factory spec replica RX-7 Mazda to a very popular win. Silcock, who had his wife and family watching on, was wrapped.
Puts a wheel in the ditch, just going through the Kumo tyres finish line.
Well, if you were driving a Mazda, you were on top in the two-wheel drive classic class. John Silcock taking the win from Bert Murray and Phil Walker. Finishing 16th in the top 16 was the Master and Apprentice, Trevor Crowe, and on this run, Josh Mitchell. Trevor, the first South Island winner in his V8 Starlet back in 1985, clocked a troubled 1:21.11, way off the pace of his top 32 time, a 1:02.50. Sheldon Bell, who, like the man he shared the car with, Auckland's Mike Tom, had a background in the New Zealand touring car. With well-known motorsport personality Lyle Zoss doing the mentoring and loving the gravel, Sheldon's best was a 1:04.82 in his Mitsubishi Evo 3, a car once owned by the late Chris Barnes. Christchurch's Gary Hawkes and the Hawkes Automotive Mitsubishi Evo went slightly slower than his 1:02.70 from the 32 to go 1:02.97, and as tight as the competition was, he would still miss the cut for the time that would have won the event years ago. Bruce Saxon was sharing this car with Mike Wellington, but when Wellington went out in the round of 32, it was all down to Saxon. Getting his rally start in the late 80s, the man from Dunedin has tasted victory here before, with wins in the 0 to 1300 and 1301 to 1600cc class in the Cardinal Network-sponsored Starlet. His best place here, 13th of the 16. Chris Hay has been coming to the Ashley Forest for 10 years, with one thing on his mind: Kim Austin's 1988 two-wheel drive record. I think the two-wheel drive record is a 1:02 and change.
1:02.45, I think.
Is that on the cards today?
Well, you never really know until you actually get to the last run and find out how clean the road is.
With the fine fettling of the aero package on the Nissan-powered Toyota MR2 and a fantastic road with great weather conditions, although the rain had started on this run, the man from Mosgiel delivered. With his daughter sitting beside him, his run was near perfect. Going for his 10th two-wheel drive unlimited win was one thing, but Austin's record, seemingly out of reach, was something else. He was wrapped, his record-setting time 1:02.15. Were you worried about the conditions? It got pretty damp there.
Yeah, I was, but sometimes you can get a little bit more grip when it's slightly damp. But yeah, we had a good run there for the weather anyway. Helped us out.
We talked before about the record being found for a long, long time. I mean, it must mean a lot.
It means heaps, actually. It's been 10 years.
Awesome. Thanks, bud.
Okay.
Gareth McLaughlin continues the tradition of teams from the Hastings area doing well at Ashley Forest. He made believers of all of us last year with the performance of his Mitsubishi Galant VR4, first purchased in 2012 and getting faster every season. The man who started his rallying career as a 17-year-old in a Toyota Starlet was soundly in the 102s, but would not make the top 8 cut. Not only was David Thexton, through his company Possum Bourne Motorsport, the title sponsor of this event, but he was also chasing a dream. He desperately wants to win this race. He'd gone close in the 80s and seen his lifelong friend Possum Bourne win on 3 separate occasions. Taken out by an infected eye last year, would this year be his turn? The answer? Sadly, no. His top 16 time of 1:02.06, not quite good enough to make the 8 cut. He'd have to come back next year. The Possum Bourne Ashley Forest Rallysprint has, over the years, seen some pretty interesting machinery. V8 Skoda of Trevor Crowe, the V8 Starion of Kim Austin, or even the V8 Cordia of Steve Murphy. But Steve Pabst got the crowd chuckling when he showed up in his ex-Trans Am Light V8 Commodore, the ex-WRC mechanic from Kaiapoi, a DNF here. Young Ari Pettigrew was on a hiding to nothing as he showed up for the unlimited 2-wheel drive runoff. Why? Well, he'd be facing 9 times class champion and new record holder Chris Hay. Second place in the Kiwi Signs sponsored class would net Ari a 1:08.78 and keep the Pabst Commodore at bay. He would be the biggest sure thing since Far Lap for the title. Having won it 9 times before and with a string of personal best runs and the 2-wheel drive record already under his belt, Chris Hay, with his daughter again sitting beside him, was ready to make history again. Unable to repeat the heroics of earlier, a 1:03.99 was too good for Pettigrew. And 10th title beckoned. So Chris Hay again makes history here at Ashley Forest. Ari Pettigrew is second and Steve Pabst in the Commodore picks up the bronze. Coming up after the break, we're into the final eliminations here at Ashley Forest. Welcome back to the Ashley Forest Rallysprint, brought to you by Possum Bourne Motorsport in association with Motul Oils. We're into the meat and drink of the competition. This is the top 8. Well, a big crowd have been waiting for this, and first to go it will be Jason Clark from Marlborough in the Mitsubishi Evo. Best time in the 16 was a 1:01.60. Now, he's double entered in the car he's driving in the Unlimited and also in the 4-wheel drive rally, and quite surprisingly he's been quicker in the 4-wheel drive rally setup. Let's see what he can do this time. You see a little bit of a sheen on the road as he works his way full throttle up into the kink, in and out, left, right he comes. As I said, best time a 1:01.60. Working their way through Notas now and up to the hairpin. He's been competing in the Gull Rally Challenge over the last 2 years. Let's see what the split time is. Needs to be around about the 38-second mark, and the top 16 was a 37.89. This time he's quicker, 37.72, and now he throws it off the edge of the world and heads down into the plough dipper. This is the next major obstacle on the downhill run here at the Possum Bourne Motorsport Ashley Forest Rallysprint. Can he beat his time of a 37.89? That's what he did in the top 16. This is the top 8. He'll have to go quicker than that, I would think, if he wants to make the cut. Down through the finish line he comes now and into the finishing area, hard on the brakes in the Subaru, and it is a 1:02.00. So he's gone slower. This is Sean Haggerty from Rangiora, just down the road in the Subaru Impreza WRX R8. This time was a 1:01.23. That was in the 16. You're on board with him here. Looks very relaxed behind the wheel. I'm picking the cut-off time here for the 8 will be probably around the 1:01. maybe the high 101s, early 102s. Nice and tidy through the kink as he works his way up to Nota's Corner. Another one of these landmark corners here at Ashley Forest. Very wide coming out of Notice. It's going to cost him a little bit of time. Top 16 split was a 36.89 for Haggerty. As I said, sharing the car with Richard Baddock. Oh, and he's gone even wider at the hairpin. This is going to cost him a whole chunk of time, maybe even a second to pick up that mistake as he heads down the hill now. 101.23 in the 16. I don't think he's going to even approach that as he heads down into the plough dipper. Once again, just getting a little bit offline, missing the apex and getting a little bit wide. Now the concentration and the concern on the face of Sean Haggerty as he works his way down to the finish line. And the time is a 105.26. He won't be happy with that. That's a huge blowout on his earlier performance. Michael Tall, the next to go. Lorna, his wife, sits alongside him. The car is the Mitsubishi Mirage Cyborg, the four-wheel drive upgrades car. Fastest time here 3 years ago, but mechanical stopped him getting through to the final. Once again, another one that looks pretty relaxed behind the wheel. Got his motor racing start in motorcycle racing around the Christchurch area. Looks a little bit tidier than what we saw from Haggerty, although he just gets that one wrong coming out of the kink and just gets a little bit close to the water table, the edge of the racecourse. Out of Notice, he's not looking too bad at all. 35.44 was the split in the top 16. That transferred into a 58.23. This one is not quite as quick, 36.17. So maybe that little mistake we saw him have coming out of the kink is telling on the tail of the tape. 58.23, one of his fastest runs ever at Ashley Forest in the 16. What can he do in the 8? Time ticks away as he gets down close to the finish line through the flying finish in 59.17. So he's gone slow. He won't be happy with that. It's a long way off the 58.23 he did in the 16. This is past Group N national champion Chris West and the winner of Ashley Forest on debut back in 2013. Not too many people can say that. He's driving the Brian Green Properties Mitsubishi AP4 Mirage. This is the same car that we saw Matt Summerfield win in last year. Westy just battling away through the sun, and really where he's been struggling all day is on his starts. Coming off the extreme suspension start line hasn't been a highlight, and he's just a little bit wide coming out of Notice, so maybe he's just compensating a little bit for the start there. Westy from Timaru, as I said, won on debut, and that year it was terrible conditions, wet and muddy. Top 16 time was a 59.52. The split was a 36.65. 36.56, he's fractionally quicker. Now he's really going to have to haul it down the hill. This is the car, as I said, owned by Brian Green. Around about 600 odd horsepower, a lot lighter than it races in the New Zealand Rally Championship spec. You can see there Chris fighting with the wheel as he works his way down to the Kumo flying finish. 59.52 in the 16, 59.29, slightly faster in the 8, and that may be good enough to make the next cut, which of course will be the top 4.
Made one mistake, but yeah, all right.
Might be enough.
I don't know. Boys are going fast.
So this is Matt Penrose in the Carter's Tyre Service Subaru WRX. He's running in the unlimited four-wheel drive class. He's an ex-grass carter and then moved to track carts. He's done a fair bit on the seal. He was the past New Zealand Class 2 Formula Ford champion, current New Zealand Hill Climb champion. You're on board with him here as he works his way through the gears. It's pretty much a full-on blast, full throttle all the way until you get into the braking area for the kink. That's where he's headed now. Just look at the way he uses all the suspension of the Subaru. That wing on the back doing a great job, just putting some downforce onto the back wheels as he comes out of the kink and heads towards Nota's. Top 16 split was a 37.04 for Matty Penrose. Fourth time here at Ashley Forest, 36.82, so he is fractionally faster. Well, is he going to break the habit of a lifetime here and get under the minute? I don't think he's done it before here at Ashley Forest. 1:00:35 that ranked him 6th in the top 16. What's he going to do? Goes through the plough dipper. Back on board with him here as he hits terminal velocity, close to 170 kilometres an hour. Flashes through the Kumo tyres finish in 59.67. And at the moment in the top 8, that ranks Matt Penrose in 3rd place. First time under the minute. Richard Baddock in the car he shares with Sean Haggerty. Baddock is a talent, everyone will tell you so. He comes from Rangiora. He's a mechanic or a race engineer. Started rallying and back in 2012. Past overall winner of the Bourne Petroleum Waimate 50. Competed in the New Zealand Rally Championships on a regular basis for the last few years. Top 16 time was a 59.51 that ranked him 5th in the 16. The split was a 36.65. Just let it drift a little bit wide coming out of Nodas. And the car corrects itself. Now it's down through the gears. Hauls up the handbrake. 36.48. So he's gone quicker as well in the top 8. Now 59.91 was the time in the 16. Can he get under that mark here to rank himself in the top 8 with the fast guys still to come? Through the plough dipper. Gets a little bit untidy but cuts the apex well. Now you're on board with him here. Driving as hard as he can. Just takes that little left right and at 180 kilometres an hour. And that's the speed that Richard Baddock's doing. It's a bit of work. 59.19. He comes down into the Blair's engine and tyres braking area, and that ranks him number 1.
This thing goes pretty well, but it's quite unfamiliar because I don't drive it very often, so plus I don't own it, so I've got to always keep that wee margin, you know?
Right, Rich, well done.
Thank you.
Well, people have been waiting for this. This is Sloane Cox. He is the new record holder, remember. 55.23, that record he broke. In fact, he broke it 3 times, the 56.57 of Kim Austin's record last year. He had a driveline failure in the final, and that gave the win to Matt Summerfield. Nice and easy off the line this time for Sloane Cox, really treating the extreme suspension start line with a bit of respect. You ride with him here, the camera on the roof, just starting to flex as he gets up to over 100 miles an hour in the old language before it's hard on the brakes and into the kink. Through the Motul kink he goes, heading up towards Notas now. Looks pretty tidy at the moment. Rumoured to have around about 800 horsepower for Sloane on tap under the right foot. Heading through Notas, just drifted a little bit wide, just caught out on the soft stuff right out by the edge of the circuit there. That maybe is going to cost him a little bit. 34.84 at the split in the 16. 34.88, he's a fraction slower. That should transfer to another 56-second clocking though, and really all he's got to do is keep making the elimination cuts. From the 8 we'll cut him to 4, then there'll just be 2. Sloane Cox will be amongst it, you can guarantee that. Past New Zealand junior champion from Rotorua stops the clocks with a 56.88, and that ranks him number 1. No real surprises for the youngster from Rotorua. Next to go, it is the 3-time champion. He won in 2014 in Steve Murphy's V8 Cordia. He won in 2015 in his Castrol-Edge Subaru Impreza. And he won last year in the car he's driving here, and that is the Brian Green-owned Mitsubishi Mirage AP4. And Joyce tells me they had a look at Hayden Padden's car before, festooned with wings. He said, no, we don't need any wings. We just got to find a little bit more cleaner lines and drive a little bit harder. And that really is the story of Matt Summerfield, currently sitting 2nd in the New Zealand Rally Championship. Once again, just a little bit wide coming out of Notas. Top 16 split was a 35.68. That transferred into a 58-second clocking. This time it's a 36.61, so he's a little bit slower. But as I mentioned before, you don't have to rotate the wheel. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. All you have to do is keep making the cut, and that's what Matt Summerfield's got in mind here as he works his way through the plough dipper. Car just gets a little bit uncomfortable. You ride with him here at about 180 kilometres an hour, heading down to the Kumo tyres finish. It's going to be another 58-second clocking. It's a 58.08, so he chops a whole heap of time off his top 16, and now he is ranked 2 in the top 8, and that is where I want to be. He knows it's going to come down to the final 2, and he wants to be in it. Will it be Sloane Cox? Will it be Richard Baddock? Who will be there? Will Michael Tall surprise us all? Come back at Ashley Forest and find out. Welcome back to Ashley Forest. Well, it is getting to the end of the program. From 8, we will cut them to 4. It is the record holder, Sloane Cox. Matt Summerfield is there. Michael Tall is there. And so too is Richard Baddock. This is Mike and Lorna Tall getting set to go once again. Top 8 time for them was a 59.17 with a 36.17 at the split. A year has passed since Mike debuted this car at Ashley Forest, and he tells me he's got a little bit more used to it. They've cured the driveline issues they had, and he is looking pretty good to go as fast as he ever has. Went through the minute mark the first time last year. What can he do this time round? The man from Christchurch, 36.17 was the top 8 split for Michael and Lorna Tall. Through Notas they come. The car looks pretty good. This is where you can win or lose so much time, and he looks picture perfect. He just holds it in nice and tight. It's very slippery on the outside of the hairpin. You don't want to get out over there. It's going to cost you over a second. It was a 35.95 split, the fastest split that Michael Toole has ever done. This is boding well for the couple from Christchurch. Down through the plough dipper they go, heading towards the Kumo Tyres finish line now. 59.17 in the 8. This is the top 4. From here we'll cut them just down to 2. Will Michael Toole be there with a 58.57? Well, we just don't know.
Yeah, not as good as a previous run, like a couple of runs ago, but got to the top 4.
Yeah, and I know that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's good fun.
Good stuff, mate. Yep. Thanks, Michael.
Cool, thank you.
Well, Michael Toole judges it good fun. Is it good fun for Richard Baddock? Here he is in the Sean Haggerty-owned Subaru. Very quick off the extreme suspension start line. You're riding on board here with Baddock. Already got into the top 4. That's a pretty good accomplishment in the rally drive spec car. Heading up the top of the hill now. The first problem is the kink. Oh, there's going to be a problem here because he's just let it drift straight ahead. I wonder if something broke in the steering. He's just gone straight on into the bank. He'll just shut off the Subaru now. He looks to be okay. Have a look at it from a different angle. They are very lucky not to roll. Car come right up on the 2 wheels. Here it is from the onboard action. Richard knew it was gone as he hauled on the handbrake. So, the man that holds the record, the man that has yet to win this event. He's tried twice. A driveline failure has cost him both times. Blasts off the Evo Course wheels, extreme suspension start line. You're riding with him here as he's just grabbing gears through the sequential gearbox. Rumoured to have around about 800 horsepower at the back wheels for the ex-Andrew Hawkswood Pikes Peak Special. This is Sloane Cox. Already he has been very close to his record, 55.23. What are we going to see this time round? Nice tight line as he comes through. Notice, but he just runs it just a fraction too wide, and that may cost him. 34.88 was the handbrake turn split at the top of the course. This time it's a 33.97. No one has been under 34 seconds, and Sloane Cox, even with that little bit of a mistake, is on a real tear here. 56.88 in the top 8. This is going to be faster. This is going to be something pretty special. He flashes down towards the Kumo Tyres finish line. Are we going to see a sub 55? We do. Unbelievable stuff from the youngster from Rotorua. He smashes his own record, 54.96. He rewrites history. Have a look at the line through the dipper. Brilliant stuff from Cox. It puts the acid on this man, but once again, all he's got to do is make the cut. Richard Baddock's gone, so it makes it just a little bit easier. He's got to beat the time of Michael Toole to make sure he gets to the 2, and that is a 58.57. You're riding here with Matt and Nicole Summerfield. They pair together in the New Zealand Rally Championships. When it gets a bit serious, Nicole slips into the co-driver's seat, working his way through the kink, just a little bit untidy, maybe the car just wandering a little bit offline as he works his way into the hairpin. He'll know the time that Sloane Cox did, that 54.96. Top time for Matty in the 8 was a 58.09. The split was a 35.61. This one's going to be quicker, and it's near perfect. He cuts the apex around the big tyre, lets the car drift out, 34.90, so he's on a good time as well. Is it going to match the 54.96 of Sloane Cox? Or better still, is it going to be better than the 58.57? If he can do that, and he's way wide at the dipper, the plough dipper, he goes, grabs some more gears through the gearbox, heads down into the finish line, time to beat the 58.57. He smashes that, 57.49. We've found our 2 here at the Possum Bourne Motorsport Ashley Forest Rallysprint for 2017. Just look at this, just gets a little bit offline, the car gets airborne, and that maybe cost him a 10. So from 51, we will now cut them to just 2. It's the record holder versus the 3-time champion. So Matt Summerfield in the slower car, he'll go first. Nicole, his sister, sits alongside him. Well, there's rallying in the family. Matt and Nicole's father, Les, a past mainland rally champion, and he'll be proud no matter what happens here. Remember, his top 4 time was a 57.49. Sloane Cox's top 4 time, a 54.96. Heading through the kink they go now. Once again, the car tossed to the outside of the racetrack. It's just the nature of the course. I think it's getting very cut up here as we get late into the afternoon here in Ashley Forest. out of notice he goes, heading for the hella hairpin. What's the split going to be for Matty Summerfield? It was a 34.90 in the 4. It's a 34.88, so it's fractionally faster. Are we going to see a sub 57 second clocking for Matt Summerfield? That's what he secretly has in mind. I know for a fact he's never gone under the 57 second mark before. Even Nicole's getting a little bit animated as he heads down into the finish line, and across the Kumho Tyres finish he goes. He stops the clocks with a 56.51. He gets the sub 57. Nicole's got a smile on her face. Matty's still all business. He knows that Sloane Cox has been faster, but he also knows that Cox has had reliability issues for the past 2 seasons. Yes, he's the record holder, but he's never got to the top in the final. And that will be going through his young head at the moment. Sloane Cox from Rotorua, past New Zealand junior champion, and he babies it off the extreme suspension start line. He knows that he's got to register a time in the final. He got the record last year. He couldn't get to the top, and Matt Summerfield had win number 3. Is he going to get win number 4, or will Sloane Cox get all the way to the top and smash the record again? Remember, he did that in the top 4 run. It was the 54.96. That's the new record. Oh, and he's wide as he heads out of the kink and up into notice, and he's wide again, but he's got all the horsepower in the world to straighten the car up. Into the hella hairpin he goes. What's the split going to be? It was a 34.75 in the 4. What's it going to be in the 2? It's quicker. It's quicker, so he's on the way. He's heading down the hill now toward the plough dipper. Sloane Cox is going to come through, is he? And win here at Ashley Forest. Down into the last couple of corners through the left-right kink and down through the Kumho Tyres finish he goes, and it's a 55.13, and he's done enough after 3 years trying. Sloane Cox is the champion here at Ashley Forest, the Possum Bourne Motorsport Ashley Forest Rallysprint. The trophy is heading north. Well, there'll be plenty of elation in the cab and outside of it. Sloane Cox, you champion. Sloane, well, that's a monkey off your back.
Oh, I'm so happy. I was so nervous for that last run after last year, what happened on the start line. So it was a little bit of easy takeoff, and after that I relaxed, and it was an awesome run.
Mate, commiserations, but you said you wanted to get into 56s, that's where you ended up.
Yeah, exactly. Sloane did a great job. We were working towards a number, and the number ended up being 56. So it proved all over the weekend it's the fastest we've ever gone. So we pushed the car as hard as I could, and yeah, still happy.
You could relax after that 54.
Oh yeah, exactly. I wanted the record this year. Not quite as low as I had hoped, but I wanted another one, and we got it the run early, so it was a little bit relaxing that last run going, and just had to win it. Just had to put another clean run in, and that's what we done.
Congratulations, mate. Well done. Ashley Forest champion for 2017.
So happy. Thank you very much.
So the champagne spray shows it all. Wasn't to be the 4-time winner for Matt Summerfield, but he'll be equally happy with his performance, and more importantly, the performance of this young man. Sloane Cox is the champion for 2017.